How's it going, team? Welcome back to the Kiwi Hustle podcast. It's been some time since we did a podcast. We've been so busy with a whole lot of planning for 2025. And nevertheless, we're back into it for 2025 and we've got our first guest. Now, this guy is a wrestling entrepreneur. He's got multiple businesses and you probably have seen his Kava brand, which is delicious, and we're actually drinking it at the moment while we're talking here. But that's my toko, my Tongan brother here, Toks Fale. How's it going, my toko?
Mahalo, thank you for the invite, and I'm looking forward to have a good chat.
So, where are you from, Toko? Tell us about your background.
I'm Tongan. I grew up in Tonga for the first 6 years of my life and moved to New Zealand. And been in New Zealand till I was 18. And then I've been in Japan since until now. So I've been in Japan longer than anywhere else.
How long were you in Japan for, Toko?
Almost 24 years now. Yeah. I've been there since 2001.
And you lived there for 24 years?
Up until last year, I was there mostly.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the lifestyle like there in Japan? I hear a lot of people love it. They love it. Like a lot of people, it's not their number one destination to go back to or go to visit.
I think so too, because every time somebody asks me, do you recommend Japan? I 100% recommend it.
What is it? What about it?
The culture is very cultural, very respectful, very clean, and the people are very nice.
What would be some things that you see in New Zealand that you wouldn't see in Japan and vice versa?
I'd say there's more respect. It doesn't matter who you are. If you ask somebody to help you, they'll help you.
True.
Yeah, and it's, the cleanliness, you hardly see rubbish anywhere. Public toilets. Clean, like it's a hotel. Like if you go to a public toilet in Japan, you feel like you're at home. But in New Zealand, it's really hard to go into a public toilet and think, oh, it's really clean. That's a big difference.
And what's the difference from, I suppose, what's something you miss from New Zealand to Japan?
Of course, I gotta say the pies.
Yeah.
The pies are, the food is different. I prefer Japanese food more, but I miss the pies. Yeah, I miss the New Zealand lamb.
Yeah.
And the island food especially. So
Yeah.
Big difference.
So not many people know this, but give us a list of your businesses that you run.
Man, right now I've only got two.
Yeah.
I've only got two, but I had a few before COVID, and COVID destroyed most of it.
And so those two are
I have a gym, Fale Dojo in Otahuhu in Auckland, and I run promotion, New Japan Tamashi, and that's a wrestling promotion, and we do tours around New Zealand and Australia, and soon to be the islands.
Plus, one thing we haven't mentioned is the Fale Kava.
That's free business. Fale Kava. Started Fale Kava about a year ago, only because the cover has changed my life. And, if something that changed my life, I thought if it's done that to me, I might as well invest in it.
So this is it, guys. It's delicious. It is actually really nice. What flavor are we currently using?
Oh, it's just normal cover.
This one is?
Yeah.
What's the one that we had before? Was it pineapple or something? No.
So if we can cut this.
Oh.
Yeah, I can only talk about the normal cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it's legal reasons. Yeah.
But that was delicious. That was, man. So talking about COVID doors. So we were talking before about how you had, all your business running. How did COVID impact you, the lockdowns and that? Or what was that like to go through that journey?
Oh, man. The difficulties of trying to stay open, especially as a gym, because people mentally and physically need that release. So trying to stay open for that was the toughest, because I could have closed it easily and not lose money. But trying to stay open for the community to get right, that was tough.
And so you were saying that you had an importing company.
I had an importing company, and I did merchandising, and a lot of my supplies were from overseas.
Yep.
And all got shut down after COVID came through.
What was the worst thing about COVID? Or like, obviously you had the loss in income, you had the loss. Well, you know, you had overheads. But what was the emotional toll that you felt during that period?
Mentally, it was really tough. You know, because a lot of those things I didn't believe. You know, I didn't believe in the vaccine, and I stayed away from it. I didn't get it.
So you never got it?
No.
Like me, yeah.
Pure bloods.
Yeah. Pure breed.
Pure bloods.
We stand.
You know, and there's a lot of things happening now, and you know, I believe it's because of that.
Give us an example.
Like sudden deaths.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of people just dropping dead at such a young age.
Yeah.
And they say it's, you know, it must run in the family and all that kind of stuff. But I don't think so.
Since what I find difficult, though, since when was sudden death a commonality?
Since 2020.
It's nuts, man. Like, it's like we need to like address it. Like, man, I remember. So I used to own a gym, and I was firm on it. I'm not going to get I always call it the apple juice dog. And man, you're going through that period, dog. Man, I got mocked. I got ridiculed. I got like people saying you're a tinfoil hat wearer. You all this, and like everyone has their own beliefs, you know, and I respect it. But I found it difficult at the time where people were trying to persuade you and mock you for your beliefs. Did you get any of that?
Oh man, everywhere. And most of the people around me got it. You know, I didn't tell them not to. I said, I support your decision. You go get it if you think it's good for you. But for me, no. But there were so many people who gave me the side eye because I didn't get it. You know, but I'm so happy now that I didn't. Actually, either today there's or yesterday they're saying they're pooling the vaccines. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Citing that there's certain
Issues
side
with it.
effects.
Yeah.
Why now? now all this stuff we've been believed would happen
It's
has
happening.
happened, and they're pooling it.
It's crazy. I honestly think it's crazy. Yeah, I'll never forget that period of my life. Though it was like you were always on anxiety, and then I think the hardest thing was the government took away. Well, the difficult time at the period was the government said they mandated it. So if you go back to work, well, you've got to actually use this. And I remember at the time I was like, wow, jeepers. Me and my wife we were on this one income. She was a teacher, and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this is going to get dangerous now. But thank the Lord we're on the other side. And honestly, I just am grateful that, you know, like looking at back, like you were saying though, looking now, it feels so much better because at least you know you're not walking on thin ice.
Yeah.
Do you agree? That's what I feel anyway, because there's like, man, I'm coming across people that have got so many sudden issues, conditions that are all of a sudden coming, like aneurysms and strokes and all these
Blood clots.
clots.
Man, there's so many people getting sick all the time.
Yes.
Long COVID, is there such a I said, I got long COVID. I said,
Long nuts.
what?
Like, I'm not trying to be thing, but man, it really did my head in. And like I said, though, like at the time, I just thought common sense was not common. And I think the other thing that I found just so frustrating was that they came up with all these different names, like Omicron, like Transformers, like all these like names, and I was like, holy moly.
The toughest thing I reckon would be knowing, you know, like,
Yeah.
because I did my research.
Yeah.
You know, and everybody says, do your research. Yeah, I did my research. I
Yeah.
went and looked at all the things that I needed to look at to find out what this thing was.
Yeah.
And then getting a clearer understanding of what it was tough for me to say to other people, you know, go do your research. And say, I don't need to do the research because scientists have told me this. And that was tough, you know, trying to talk to people and they look at you and they think you're crazy. But
Yeah.
knowing it and understanding it, and people who don't,
Yeah.
it was very hard just to have a conversation because they believed
Yeah.
what they believed from what they've seen on TV.
My heart went to the people that were cornered.
Yes.
My heart felt for them because they were cornered, they were pressured. Yeah, that was a sad period.
Man, I lost so much money at the hotels. You know, when you travel, you have to stay for 2 weeks.
Oh, the quarantines.
Yeah, quarantine.
That's
I
right.
lost so much money. I stayed, I think, 4 times.
So was that when you were coming into the country?
Yeah.
I didn't realize you had to pay. I thought there was a government, like, I thought the government were
3,500 every time you stay.
plus your airfare.
Airfares.
Gosh.
You see, I figured out a way to travel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you needed the
Yeah,
2
you had
shots
to get
be able to travel.
hey,
But I figured out how to
line
travel.
up for me. Hurry up.
So I figured out how to travel, but I still had to pay.
Okay, so tell us, because I never traveled and was able to stay in the hotels. What was that like? Because you had to, like, I remember going into Auckland City once and seeing one of the hotels. It looked like a movie. It looked like a movie. Though, you know that movie? What are those movies? Legend, where it's all boarded up.
Yes.
What was it like? You couldn't even leave
I
for
stayed
2
in Auckland at the Ridges in Auckland one time, and they blocked off everything. You can't look outside. And man, I was so pissed off the first time when I came back, and they put me in there for 2 weeks, and they send you to your room, right? You get to your room,
all
and
masked up.
everything. You go in, and you're expected to stay in this room for 2 weeks. You only get to go out 1 hour a day. And I went into the first room, and the windows, I was looking at a freaking wall, right? And I straight away I thought I'm gonna have a mental freaking episode
Yeah.
if I look at this wall for
Yeah.
2 whole weeks. So I called downstairs and they said, and I said, can I get another room that's got some sort of sky or some sort of, I can see something.
Some grass.
Yeah, something green or blue. And I said, sorry, sir, all the rooms are booked out. So I was stuck in there for 2 weeks. Oh, man. Luckily,
What did you do to occupy yourself during that 2 weeks?
oh, man, you watch movies, you try to read. There's a lot of things you try and do. You eat a lot.
Yeah, how do you get food to? Do you get food
Sometimes-
delivered?
Delivery, yeah, they had those supermarket apps.
So family can't like cut the cost for you and bring food for you.
Oh, I think you could, but there were certain foods they wouldn't allow certain foods. I wanted to get some corned beef and all that stuff. They wouldn't let it through. It had to be from a list of the shops that they had, like pizzas and all that. What a fucking ripoff!
That does my head in. I can't I can't actually understand the whole time that it just made no sense to me, that whole thing.
The worst is another bad thing is last couple of years when Hipkins was in there.
Yep.
And he was saying, no, we didn't mandate anything.
Yeah.
Shut the
Yeah, that was pretty that's really a kick in the gut.
I'm wondering if I can, see, I haven't looked into this. I'm wondering if I can try and get their money back from the government.
And you see, like, it's good that we're moving this way though, because I was reading in January, I think it was the highest liquidations in the year since 2012. Business liquidations. People are still reaping the costs.
Yeah.
And the difficult thing about this current situation now is that businesses are going through such a hard time now.
If they could forgive all these debts that we have, man, this country would turn around so quick.
Yeah.
Because everybody's still trying to play catch up.
Look at, there was that, I forgot what the name was, there was an established restaurant in Auckland City, been open for 20, 25 years, closed down. And the alarming thing that I saw in the article, this was like 2 weeks ago, the alarming thing that I read in the article was that there's more to come. That the owner said that there's more to come. Because the hospitality business is suffering, eh?
Yeah, man. And, you know, it's not just the hospitality business, it's the cost of food and meat and all that's gone up. And the regulations and everything that this last government freaking
ruined it. And that's the tough thing I find though, is that people are currently blaming this current government. Don't get me wrong, like they've not fixed anything, but they don't realize like it's a track record from what's happened in the last 8 years.
Yes.
You know, and that's the hard thing. People are blaming national. Like, don't get me wrong, they're not better than each other, but they're like, no. Look at what Labour did. They printed so much money off.
Yes.
They heightened inflation.
Yes.
You know, the other thing that I found difficult at the time was that they ended up raising the minimum wage during COVID when there's no productivity going. Like, who the hell does that? You know, and it's just a recipe for disaster. I said this to my wife. I said to her, this is going to be a recipe for disaster coming up. And now look at it, you know, and it's really difficult because people with no business sense don't understand that, you know, and it's, it's sad. New Zealand, unfortunately, is in a real sad space. It's real sad, eh?
Yeah, I wasn't really happy with the last government, but at the same time, I'm not happy with this one because I believe our Prime Minister is no different from our last one.
Yeah.
They really have a lot of similar views.
Yep.
I'm a big New Zealand First supporter.
Yep.
And I've always voted for
Winston.
Uncle Winston ever since I was able to vote. But I believe he's got a common sense mind. But it sucks that he has to work with those other two.
Yeah.
There's other two woke.
And it's one thing I'm finding tough too at the moment is there's such a race divide happening in New Zealand. I can obviously touch base on it slightly because my mum's Māori, but it's so hard to see the race politics happening at the moment. You know, so we do work over in America. We go to Bali all the time. There's none of that. Like, people say America's divided. It's not, man. Like, maybe in some states, but the general culture is that you're American. Yeah. Everyone falls under the American flag, where New Zealand is just like racing for one particular flag. And I find it hard because you can't progress if you're always looking behind you. Yeah. You always got to look in front of you and just look at the opportunities that are coming, because if you always blame, they hold power over you.
Yes.
That's what I look at it anyway, though.
I feel the same. The victim mentality.
Yeah.
Right. To be fair, before I became an entrepreneur, I kind of had the same kind of belief.
Yeah.
But when I became an entrepreneur, I realized that it's not that easy.
Yeah.
You know, you want to take, but you don't know. You know, owners and bosses, they have to figure out a way to make that money.
Yep.
Right? And then it's the same thing, I believe, with what's happening, you know, people trying to get free money from the government.
Yeah.
But how are they going to get you all that with nothing?
Yeah.
From nothing.
It's that whole saying, rob Peter to feed Paul kind of thing mentality. They got to take it from somewhere.
Yeah. So, it's very difficult. I'm not putting down anyone who believes in, you know, getting more recognition for their culture and the race, but I feel like that the way they're going about it now is just what's the word? Divided.
Short-sighted, divided. Yeah, it's tough. It is tough.
Because you're right. In America, they'll you know, argue and stuff, but at the end of the day, they will always claim America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just imagine how New Zealand would be if we all had the commonality of being a New Zealander again. Because I remember like 10, 20 years ago, we were all New Zealanders. Yes. Common vision, moving forward. Yeah. But it's a sad state of affairs to see how everything's going at all. So tell us a little bit, though. So entrepreneurship, people think it's easy. I was watching this video yesterday, actually, with Ed Milet, and he interviewed, what's his name? He's the American guy that created the 75 Hard, the big guy. Yep. And so they did an interview. They were talking about entrepreneurship, actually, and they were saying the hard thing about entrepreneurship is that social media paints it to be this glamorous lifestyle.
Yes.
You know, this glamorous lifestyle. Like, look at me doing this, you know, oh my gosh, I've got all the success. But they do this based off they've created some income.
Yes.
It's a different story when you've actually got liabilities, leases, like commitments. So tell us about how you found entrepreneurship store and how you jumped into it and what's the hardest thing about it for people that are watching.
Firstly, the first thing I did was to become a entrepreneur, you got to start your own thing. And I didn't realize how to do anything. But the day I decided to do that came just before a negotiation for one of my wrestling contracts, and it was a video I saw on YouTube about Earl Nightingale. If you've heard of him,
It rings a bell.
he was one of the first lifestyle coaches in the world back in the 40s and 50s. But I've came across a video and he talked about not complaining. You know, if you're grateful and if you're grateful for everything that you have, abundance will come. And this was just before I was going into a negotiation for another year of my written contract. And I sat back and I thought about it, and I realized every time I come to this negotiation, I'm complaining. I want more money. I need this. I want this. But what he had said is, be grateful for what you have, right? Because everything's going to come. So I changed my mindset and I went there. And going into this room and negotiating, I could see the surprise in my bosses when they offered me this contract, and I said, I'll take it. And I said, no, I'll take the fare. Usually I'll get in there, I'll say, you need to give me more money and this, and they'll go away, draw up another one, come back and see if I'm happy with that. But the surprise they had when I said, thank you very much, I'll take it. But, and this is what I heard from Nightingale, you got to figure out a way of stop complaining and figure out a way to make more money somehow, some other way. So what I had done was I stopped complaining to getting an extra couple of grand a year. And I said, I'll take this contract, but can you give me a license to sell merchandise?
Yeah.
And they were shocked. They were like, yeah, sure. And they gave me a 5-year contract for merchandise, in which that year, instead of getting 2 extra grand on my contract, I made 40 grand on the side.
Wow.
And it changed my whole life. It changed my whole mindset and going into business. And that's how I started off my merchandise business and going into other stuff. It's not complaining, just get an idea and just do it.
There's different ways to make the deal work for you.
Yes.
And when people go in for contract negotiations, they're too short-sighted, like take. Yes. But what you did was you're like, okay, I'll accept this, but in exchange, I want this in exchange. And what you did was you created a longer passive income with that merchandise.
And at the same time, and this is what I didn't realize till later, was the bosses saw me, now they see me as an asset.
Yeah.
Because I'm not just taking from them. Now I'm going around making them money.
Yeah.
Right? Because imagine if I made 40 grand, I still had to pay their cut, which is way more than the 2 grand that I would have gotten or what I've taken from them. So I realized then you got to approach these things in a way where you're trying to help the company.
Yes.
So the more you do for them, the more they're going to do for you.
Like a transaction.
Yes.
What's one of the hardest things about entrepreneurship?
Here's a saying that everybody should know. Everyone should know about being an entrepreneur. Is let me phrase this right. Shit, my mind just went blank there. Let me say it.
That's what I thought.
Oh, okay. What was it again? Oh, yeah. Here's something that everybody needs to hear if you want to be an entrepreneur, because everybody, like you said earlier, they see on social media that the entrepreneurs have all this luxury and stuff. What they don't know is everybody wants to be the boss.
Yeah.
But they don't know that the boss always eats last.
Yeah.
And that saying is so true, because you may see a lot of money, you may see a lot of luxury and whatever, but that's all going somewhere else.
Yeah.
The boss always gets paid last.
Yeah.
And I always tell some of my staff, and say, if I don't get paid, nobody gets paid, because what we're trying to do is get everybody paid.
Yeah.
Right? But entrepreneur, that's one thing I've learned is it's not easy. If you want to be the boss, be prepared to be the last one to get paid.
Yeah. What was one of the best things that you discovered or created during your entrepreneurship journey, though? I know for myself was having those hard conversations and getting things clear from personal to business, especially with talking to people for disciplinary action or whatever it could be. That's one thing I found helped me. What's something that helped you, though, that you've learned or grown from during the entrepreneurship journey?
I'd say independence, being able to do what I want when I want. And sometimes, if you're working for someone, you're on their time.
Yeah.
But working for myself, I do it when I need to or when I want to.
Yeah.
That's one of the big things that I enjoy about being an entrepreneur. Is on my timeline, not yours.
I love it, though. I love it. And so, not many people know this. Can we discuss some of the not exact figures, but people don't know this. But you had at the highest point of your career, you were earning close to 7 figures of revenue coming through to your business, though.
Yes.
Explain the headaches that come with that.
Man. One thing I've learned, I learned throughout the years is if you don't know how to do it, find somebody who can.
Yeah.
And the big shock that the most money I made in 1 year was surprisingly the easiest year, because there was so much work and so much logistics to do. All I did was find the right people, paid them to do the work that needed to be done.
Yep.
And, it wasn't easy, of course, but it was the easiest year when I had that. So, yeah, find the right people, surround yourself with the right people, and people who can do the work. If you can't do it, that's what I did. I found some people who were able to do what I couldn't do.
Man, and not many people know this, but you're on track. You were saying to retire, but COVID hit, and now it's kind of flipped. So tell us about that journey at the moment, though.
Yes. Freaking COVID. So maybe in 2014, 15, when I first became an entrepreneur, I could see myself retiring when I got to about 2020, 2021. So I set all those goals and was on the way to retiring at 2020. And the promoting was doing well, my touring was going well, the gym was doing really good. And 2020 was going to be the year I was going to leave my boots on the ring and then get out. But COVID changed everything. And it pretty much set me back to zero. And the last 4 years has just been survival.
Man.
And then last year I did okay, but I feel like this year is finally going to be the year I'm out of that hole.
Yeah. Things are starting to pivot and look a bit more promising now, eh?
Yes.
Man, so tell us a little bit about wrestling, though. So we're talking about your heroes, King Haku, Rikishi. So tell us a little bit why you got into wrestling and the journey about that. Obviously, you know my good friend Kingston.
Yes.
He was on here quite a while ago. So tell us a little bit about that, though.
Wrestling started from my grandfather. The first 6 years I lived in Tonga. We didn't have TV channels. Everyone back in the late 80s when I was there, or early 80s, we only had a TV, VCR, and the only tapes my grandpa had were wrestling films, because all his kids were overseas and they would just send back wrestling films because that's what he loved. He loved it. And we'd watch the same wrestling films every single day, over and over and over. And no idea I was ever going to become one, but that sparked my interest. And coming to New Zealand in the 90s and watching the Attitude Era, the Rock and all that, sparked it even more. But I ended up going to Japan to play rugby, and I played until 2008. And when I finished from rugby, the wrestling came about, and I went and tried out, and got in, not knowing what wrestling really was, thinking, man, I got to do something easier than rugby, and got in and found out it was probably 3-4 times harder than what rugby was.
What makes it harder?
Mentally, physically. In rugby, you got a whole group where everyone's looking at.
Yeah.
And wrestling is much like boxing. It's just you.
So when I look at wrestling, WWE, is it pre-planned, like all the plays? So how does it make it tougher? Like people from the naked eye, they think, oh, it's fake and all this stuff. Tell us a little bit more about that side.
The falls are real.
Yeah.
The injuries are real. The stunts you do are real.
Yeah.
And from the outside, you think, oh, that's easy.
Yeah.
But when you're in there, you know, your life's on the line. You can easily break a bone. You can break your neck.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who have died. And I always invite people, you know, if you want to find out how fake it is, go in the ring and take a fall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so we warn everybody all the time, don't do this at home, of course, because it takes years of
Training. Yeah.
and it's real. I've always thought that was fake until I got into it and realized there's so much you have to learn mentally, physically. Because if you're doing a move, I don't know if you've ever had a boxing match before.
Nah, I've never jumped in the ring.
Or when you're in the ring and you know everybody's watching, the first minute your legs are gone. It's just wobbling because it's so nervous. It takes out a lot of energy. So in wrestling, if you got somebody up here, you're holding somebody up here, head down, legs up. If you drop them, they're out, they're gone. Their neck's broken if you don't land the right way.
Yeah.
Because there's ways you land to protect
You
your
got to
legs.
actually do it the right way in there, eh? Yeah.
Yeah, so mentally, you go from anything from 8 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
And if you get to the last 3 minutes of an hour, you're still expected to keep this guy safe,
Yeah.
right? And if you drop him, he's dead. So that's why it's the toughest form of entertainment,
Yeah.
because you're expected to stay with that same intensity for the whole time.
Yeah.
And not just that, we do this every night. If you train to be a boxer or MMA fighter, you train for months and you have at least 15 minutes in the ring. In wrestling, you every night you could go from 20 matches in 1 month, and you're expected to hold
Perform.
the same mental toughness and physical toughness the whole time. So it's very tough. And I trained coming from a rugby professional background, I thought that was hard because there was a lot of physicality, a lot of running, and I hate running. But coming into wrestling, I thought it was going to be easy because if you're going to run, you're just running from this rope to this rope. But then you have to run it for 3 minutes nonstop. Yeah, very tough.
Man, who are your idols?
King Haku, the Barbarian, Rikishi, Diesel, and then some of the young fellas later,
Yeah.
The Rock and Steve Austin.
Yeah. What was your best move, though, that you ever saw? Which move was it that you'd always kind of reenact?
What do you mean the move? Wrestling move?
Yeah, wrestling move. The choke slam, the pedigree.
The spike.
What was that one?
There was Umaga.
Oh, yes, yep. Yeah.
Umaga's finisher.
Yeah.
Yeah. I adopted that and used it for years.
Man, so tell us a little bit of your family, though. So how many kids you got? You married? Tell us a little bit about that, though.
Still single? No. No kids yet, but I have a Japanese partner and she's in Japan at the moment. But yeah, the career was the career was more the focus in the last 15 years, and it's helped me, get mum and dad right, get everything all sorted. But now I'm thinking of starting a family now.
And so obviously she lives there, or does she come over?
She lives there, but she comes to visit
Yeah.
once in a while. Yeah, because before I was there most of the time.
Yeah.
It was just up until last year where my main job now for the company over there is to focus on growing the brand here.
Growing local wrestlers.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and so what's on the horizon coming forward, though?
What we've been trying to work on the last 4 years, we would have been there in 2020, but we're back. The last 4 years has just been rebuilding since COVID, and we're finally at a spot where I can continue where I was in 2020, which means proper wrestling tours in Australia, New Zealand, and we're talking to Samoa and Tonga at the moment for a wrestling show over there.
That's so cool because you're going to tap into local talent before it even gets to America.
Yeah, I wanted to, because New Zealand used to be a massive territory, and The Rock always talked about his grandfather was here, and when he lived here for a bit.
Who was that again? Was that
The
Rocky?
Rock.
Rocky Maivia? No.
Yeah.
Who was his dad? His granddad? Was it? No.
Yeah, Rocky Maivia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Dwayne Johnson, when Rocky Maivia was here wrestling, used to live in New Lynn. So they lived there for a little bit while Grandpa was wrestling. Grandpa and his dad was wrestling there.
Man.
Yeah, so the territory was massive here back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But I want to get back to that level where I can train guys, get them paid and make them famous.
Yeah.
And they don't have to go overseas.
Do you think the market in Japan is stronger than the market in America?
It's strong for Japan. But America is strong all over.
Internationally. Well, what's a salary that you could be looking at getting if you're an amateur Japanese wrestler?
In Japan, if you're just a beginner, you're looking at somewhere around 3,000 to 4,000 a month.
Chucks, that's all right. Is that New Zealand dollars?
American.
American dollars.
Yeah.
Wow.
But if you're getting into the top guys, you're looking, I don't know, maybe over $1 million a year or just over $1 million.
And this is just the Japanese market.
Japanese. But if you go to America, it depends. If you're one of the beginners, you're something like just under 100 grand a year. But if you get to the top level, you're looking at 3 to 5 a year, maybe 3 mil. But if you're doing well with your merchandise, you're looking at 10 to 18 mil.
Wow.
So there's a lot of money to be made, but there's a lot of work to be done to get there.
Yeah. Do you feel The Rock coming back to wrestling helps shine more light on it and bring it more exposure to the front?
Of course. I think it goes hand in hand. You know, when The Rock was wrestling back in the 90s and early 2000s, there was not much PG, not much, what do you call it? PC. What's the PC?
Like, yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I forgot the word. Cancel culture.
Yeah. You can do what you want
You
to.
can say whatever you want and not get canceled.
Yeah.
But somewhere between 2008 and 25, you had to
Be careful of people's feelings.
Yeah, and the wrestling suffered too.
Yeah.
And it became so boring. People didn't want to watch because they weren't allowed to hit so hard.
Yeah.
They weren't allowed to
Swear
or whatever.
Yeah.
And of course, The Rock coming back. When The Rock came back, The Rock doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
He came in there and he spoke what he wanted to.
Yeah.
Nobody can cancel him.
Nah.
But he kind of brought that normalcy back
Yeah.
in the last couple of years. And now that Trump's back,
Yeah.
in the last couple of days, it felt like something's been lifted because now everyone can say whatever the fuck they want. Sorry about that.
Nah, that's what I thought. So we'll cover off last two things before we finish off. Obviously, you do a lot of social media content. You've caught up with a couple of my friends, Alvin
Oh, yes, yes,
He's
yes.
meant to be coming through in the next coming weeks. And I know you did a video for my other friend, James from Jack's Burger Shack.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
he's one of my other friends. How does that go along? How is that going at the moment, though? And
Oh, man. It started with, in 2020, actually. I challenged all my students because TikTok has just been coming out and it's new for everyone. And everybody said, oh, old people, you shouldn't be on TikTok. But I challenged them. I said, this is just like wrestling. You got to learn how to sell yourself. You can't just go in there and expect to get a good contract. If they don't pay you what you want, how do you make money? You got to sell yourself and try and make money that way. So my challenge to my students were, we all start a TikTok account.
yep,
Right? And I knew people were already saying, oh, old people, cringe, ew. And I said, I guarantee you, we'll go for a month and see who has the most followers. And I got on, and I was focused. I'll do whatever I can to beat these guys and prove my point. By the end of that, most of them had given up. But coming off that year, I'm up almost 1 million followers. And from that, I knew, you got to do whatever.
yeah,
In social media. You can't just focus on one, because if you get stuck, you got to wait till you get your next idea. So my whole philosophy about social media is, if you find something that people like, do it.
yeah,
And if you feel like people are not into it, switch it up. You got to do something different.
yeah,
But I got that because one of my friends, a sumo wrestler,
yeah,
big legend in Japan, Konishiki, he said to me one day, he's almost, I think he's 60, but he's still making a lot of money in Japan because his philosophy, when he said to me, hey, Toks, you can't sit still. If you sit still, someone else is going to take your spot.
yeah,
And I took that to heart, and every time I do something, and if I don't get an idea to follow through with that, I got to do something else.
yeah,
And then I go along with that until another idea pops out, and I come back to what I was doing. And that's why I've been doing a lot of food reviews. I do a lot of the motivational stuff. I do comedy as well.
yeah,
But I take that same mindset to business as well. I work on one business, and I feel like if it's doing well, or if I'm stuck on something, I'll try and do something else.
yeah.
And just jump back and forth. Yeah. You can't sit still.
Always moving forward.
Yes, yes.
So you're talking about obviously Trump. What's your take on that, and how do you find the future of obviously the world, but also America and New Zealand?
Oh man, I feel like there's going to be a bright future. Trump is hated by a lot of people, but I fell in love with his philosophy and the way he fought in the 2000s when The Apprentice came out. And I became a big fan, and I followed his stuff back then.
Yeah,
But then when he ran for president, Jesus, when he ran, I was surprised, but I told everyone. I said, oh man, can't believe one of my favorite celebrities is going to be in the presidential run. And my friends that I worked with, all the wrestlers, they hated him. They told me I was stupid. And I said, mark my words, he's going to be your next president.
were they New Zealand wrestlers?
Americans.
Or Americans.
Yeah.
So Democratic supporters.
Most of them were.
Yeah.
And they hated me for that.
Why do you think a lot of people hate him?
The media. Because before he ran, everybody loved him.
Yeah.
Every rapper wanted him in their videos.
Yeah.
He donated. He was supporting, the Democratic Party and all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's
It
right.
was the second he said he was running for president, every media flipped. And this is how I can tell people who are brainwashed is when they talk shit about him.
Yeah.
Because I know the only people who would tell you that is the media.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2020, of course, he lost, but the last couple of days, I thought so. A lot of people thought so. But in a sense, I'm glad he didn't win or it didn't go through because it showed everybody how bad things could go.
Yeah.
But now he's back in. It just feels like everything is just
Well,
flipped in the 180.
The evidence is there. Like, look, those hostages that were in the Middle East, they got released straight away.
Yep.
Look at the price of Bitcoin, skyrocketed, all-time
War.
highs. You
The
know,
4 years he was there before, no
no
new
wars. Yeah,
right? There was no new wars. Once Biden came in, Israel and,
yeah,
and
straight into it.
Palestine, Russia, and Ukraine, nothing
Yeah.
4 years before.
The difficult thing is exactly what you said, though, that people get so trapped in the media hype and the negativity. Man, like, I find it so hard when you've got someone that's pro-country, that wants to do the best for the country, and they still hate him. You know, just imagine if we had someone like that in New Zealand that was pro-New Zealand, focused on imports and exports, you know, doing what he's doing. You know, people are like...
Winston Peters.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, you know, people are angry about, like, they took down the borders. Man, they're saying like close to 6 million people have gone through
More, as they say, it was over 10.
gosh, you know, and that's all like terrorists, people from all these crazy countries. And now he's just made it in an emergency, a state of emergency for down in Texas. Now they're just like, boom. Like, I just can't, it just blows my mind that people don't like him, but he's so pro economy, so pro everyone else to, you know, and like, and then he just, he revealed a couple of days ago there's only 2 genders. That's it. And he's also banned transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. How can you hate him?
Yeah.
He's bringing back normal ideologies.
Yes. Hey, don't get me wrong. If you want to identify as something or something else, go right ahead. You're welcome to. Just don't force me
Yeah.
to play along in your whatever. But yeah, I think somebody like Winston Peters would be just like Trump.
Yeah.
And I hope people wake up and give him a good go if he ever tries to go again.
Yeah.
Because I think he would change New Zealand for the good.
I like the fact, I think he is part Māori too. I think there's a small degree of Māori in him.
He was the first Māori party.
Yeah.
And that's why I supported New Zealand first, because he, to me, he represented the islanders as well.
Yeah.
Because back in the early 2000s, there was no other those parties like that. There was the Greens and all that. But I feel like, and people, why do people hate him?
Winston, I think people these days, I think the hard thing is that they don't like it when there's someone that's outspoken. And they don't like their ideologies or beliefs tested. Where me and you probably are the same. I'm more than happy to sit down with someone of a different culture and understand it. Because I want to come from an argument that's factual, not emotional.
Yes.
And I think emotional thinkers and emotional people that act on emotion are always, they don't have any facts. And I think that's what ruffles people like Winston Peters, because they just speak facts.
Yeah.
So you've got to come from a different element if you don't have facts.
Yeah. Emotion.
Yeah.
Here's something I always ask everybody is, I just why do they hate Winston Peters? Here's another one. Why do they hate Brian Tamaki?
Probably the same thing.
Yeah. And here's the real answer is the media.
Yeah, true. That is true. And I know Brian personally.
I grew up hating him.
Yeah.
Because the media told me.
Yeah.
I grew up hating Winston Peters because the media told me.
you. Yeah.
And now, because of the way Trump came around.
Yeah.
Now I understand why, because the media is a propaganda.
The media is such an evil vehicle that it dictates and it influences people's outlook.
Yes.
And I think that was where the Jacinda Ardern government really was smart but conniving, where they took control of the media, where they thrashed the COVID stuff,
That's true. I knew a few guys from the Destiny Church, and you know, the news told me Destiny Church no good, Brian Tamaki no good, But the guys that I knew was such a
Good men.
good men, and they wanted to help me. They offered me help with my gym.
Yeah.
They would give me spare equipment that they didn't need.
Yeah. Is that Kane?
Kane was one of them. What's his name? Shut up.
Not Tala? No.
Kingdom Fit.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. I forgot what his name is. Yep. Yeah. He's moved down to Manurewa now.
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
I should know his name.
Yeah.
Just cut that.
No, that's right. Yeah. That's right.
But man, they helped me so much, and it got me thinking.
Yeah.
I was like, why am I hating this church, and why am I hating Brian Tamaki when his flock are trying to help me all the time? And I realized, I got to do my own research. So I'd go and look at some of his sermons, and I was shocked, bro. I was like, that's so motivating, the stuff he says, man. No wonder why some of these cons changed their lives.
Yeah.
And then you see on the news, it's constant
Bagging.
bad and bullshit. And it's sad, man, because we need more people like Brian.
Yeah.
Because, man, a lot of our youth, are in trouble right now.
Yeah.
And we need that kind of messages that he spreads, But that's it, the media. And then a lot of trouble now because now Trump's back.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things that happen, when he says there's two genders, every other country can't freaking fight that back.
Yeah.
Because we all follow America.
Yeah.
At some point or another.
That's right. It's that saying, when America sneezes, we all get a cold.
Yes.
What are some, so to finish off, Dogo, what are some words of wisdom for anyone watching this, Dogo, and how do you want to, I suppose, finish off the podcast and basically just, some words of wisdom?
One thing I believe in a lot, and I tell a lot of my youth, is if there's something that you want to do, if there's a goal that you have, if you believe in it, then you're halfway there.
Yeah.
That's my message.
Belief is one of the hardest things that people can't attain. But if you focus on it, it will get you through those hard days, low days, and high days. They don't.
Yeah. And that's the hardest work is what's in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
Thank you so much for your time, Dogo. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Tell
much.
us, where's your gym, Dogo? Where's your gym real
My
quick?
gym is in Orahuhu, Fale Dojo, 66 Portage Road.
Yep. And your cover is popping off, so make sure you go get some.
Get some cover.
Yep.
Facebook, Instagram, Fale Cover.
Perfect. Thank you, team. That's us, and we'll see you real soon.